Hey Gil, man, I really appreciate you taking this time out here at the Cape Breton International Drum Festival to spend some time and give the, give my site members at TigerBill's Drum Beat a little insight into, who you are, where you're going, what you're doing.
Cool.
And man, I heard your performance just earlier today. You opened up the day here on Sunday, and man, you're just phenomenal, just terrific, man.
That means a lot. Thanks.
Can you give us a little idea? How did you start out in the, the drumming business? Did you always want to be a drummer, or how did you get the,
It's funny. Just a minute ago at the autograph table, a kid asked me, and he asked the same question. I said, "Well, drumming kind of found me. It wasn't the other way around. I actually wanted to play guitar." And it was in the 8th grade, and this kid gave me this acoustic guitar, and he started showing me Stairway to Heaven and like some simple chords. So, I was totally into it. I wanted it. So I was practicing and, kind of struggling with it. And I have a twin brother who grabbed the guitar, and he just went boom, 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 and started playing, like, right away.
Natural.
So I looked at him and I was like, it's kind of like the Van Halen brothers, because originally Eddie had a drum set, and then Alex is the one that came and played. But so it was like the same thing. I was like, fine, you play guitar. And literally like a week later, the same kid invited us to his house, who gave me the guitar originally, and there was a drum set there. And I was like, never sat behind a drum set in my life. And I said, oh, that looks cool, can I play it? And it was funny because his brother purposely, this guy's older brother, didn't want to have anybody play on his drums while he was gone, so there was no throne. So we like leaned against the wall like this, and I stretched my legs. I remember I was in the 8th grade, and I just went doons, dats, doons, dats, doons, dats, doom, doom, psh. Basic beat,
Sure.
And I was like, okay, this is it. This is what I want. And from there, I asked my parents, I said, I want to be a drummer. And my dad said, nah, they're too loud and they're too bulky. And then the more I realized, like, wait a minute, that felt too natural. It felt too right for me to give up. And my parents really saw my brother and I wanted to be Motley Crue and Poison and Metallica. That was what we were listening to at the time. I wasn't hip to jazz or anything like that yet. And so for our 13th birthday, my dad was like, come to your grandma's house. I want to show you something. And I remember we walked, my grandma lives across the street, and we walked over, and my dad goes, Ronnie, go to the bedroom. That's my brother's name. He said, Ronnie, go to the bedroom. And there was a bass in the bedroom. And then Ronnie was like crying, was so happy. And then he looks at me and goes, Gil, go in the back room. And I see a drum set there. I almost died. I was like, oh my God. From that day, that was the start of everything. It was totally isolated. Kids in the 8th grade were like, what happened to Ronnie and Gil? They used to be so friendly and outgoing, and we just totally locked ourselves in our room. It was funny. And it's cool having like an identical twin brother. We're kind of joined at the hip, So after that, my buddy from Brooklyn, Marcello, he came out, and he was kind of a mentor, definitely a mentor, and he introduced me to the world of drumming, like outside of Motley Crue and Poison and Metallica and Slaughter, and then Primus, all my 3 favorite bands at the time that I just mentioned. But he told me about Dave Weckl. He's like, have you ever heard of Dave Weckl, this fusion cat? And I was like, no, I don't know what that music is. I've never even heard of fusion. And he played me Master Plan. And it was so far over my head, like what I was hearing. I didn't believe one drummer was doing that, and I just didn't really know. It was nothing like the kind of music I was used to hearing. So he got me hip to fusion, and then once I got into fusion, I was like, something came before this. And it was weird because there was an innocence I had that's why I love talking to the kids, because there was an innocence that I had before I got corrupted by the industry and like the business and just seeing reality out there. I was really sheltered in a bubble. Like, I didn't know drummers only did this or could only do that, or they're this and this and that. It's like, I thought if you were a drummer, you should do everything. Like, there weren't any rules. And so then another family friend who played sax, he got me into straight ahead. that when I got into straight ahead, that took my world upside down, even more than when I heard Weckel and the fusion stuff. When I heard Milestones, and I was like, oh my God. Then he played Love Supreme, Coltrane, Love Supreme, and Elvin's drumming on that, and I still really didn't understand what was going on, but it was enough. It was enough to realize this is some stuff I got to get into. And then, so at an early on, like this is 13, 14, 15, that age is when I was exposed to all that at the same time. And it was like just like a sponge. That's all I listened. I listened to music and I watched. Like I said, how I learned was just watching and imitating. And sing Buddy, and you know, and I always wanted to look cool and have this posture and like stuff like that and whatever, but soon, you know, when I started to mature and like really come into my own was when I was like 18 or 19. That's when I really started developing like stuff that I do, that I can honestly say like I put these pieces together. I was blessed, and I realized, whoa, like I have the potential to carve my own name in the drum world, you know, and
Sure. I mean, you know, from what I heard this morning, I mean, you're definitely got influences,
yeah,
you know, from jazz and various styles.
yeah, yeah.
But you know, you sound like you, which is really cool. You know.
Thanks. Yeah, and then what I was saying earlier during my performance is that it's good to take like from your influences, but definitely make it your own. You know, I'm just gliding, I'm floating, and then that gets me into like more martial arts training, because I've been doing a Chinese internal martial art. It's an incredible art. I think some of it, you know, I don't want to get into like whole martial art thing, but I think some of it is lost in the translation. It wasn't really meant for Westerners to learn. So a lot of people, like, they think they're learning like Tai Chi, but they're kind of like, their teachers are holding stuff back from them. They're not giving them, like my martial arts teacher, Stuart Charno. He's from New York. He studied with our Sifu Kenny Gong, straight from the Canton province in China. He was teaching in Chinatown. Trust me, the Chinese cats were not happy that Sifu Kenny Gong was teaching Americans and Westerners. They were not happy. Trust me, Bruce Lee was not the only guy that was threatened by people back home. They did not want us learning their stuff. Every day I tell my students, you should not plateau. You don't need to ever plateau. If somebody comes up to me and says, I've been playing for 9 years and I haven't gotten any better in 3 years, and then I tell them, well, there's a problem. Let me see what you're doing. Within 10 seconds, right away, I know what they're doing. It's either a mechanical thing, technically they can't execute what they're hearing in their head, or it's just a lack of, you know, education and exposure. I'm not going to take it for granted. I was blessed to be here, what my calling in life is, and I'm not going to throw it away, you know. To be able to talk to you and have people on your website, which is amazing, have people see this interview all over the world and clips of all these cats, it's like, that's what it's all about. You got to share it and just, you know, and hopefully people don't take it for granted, you know. I just like dealing with real people, real honest people that want to do it the same reasons I do it, for the love of this. Expression of just doing an open solo to me it's like me talking to you in the camera.
Sure. Well, hey, Gil, I'm telling you, you know, from what I heard today and what I saw you do today, I mean, I'm sure, you know, you're going to be around for a long time,
Thanks.
doing a lot of clinics all over the world, and,
Yeah.
you know, I really wish you, you know, you and your band,
Thanks.
you know, just nothing but the best, man, and you're a great guy,
You too.
and, you know, you deserve it,
Yeah.
and so I really appreciate it, man, and thanks again.
Of course, thank you.